You're listening to Autumn on the Air, the weekly podcast that brings you conversations about the impact of research commercialization and the people who make it happen. Join us for interviews with patent and licensing professionals, innovators, entrepreneurs, and tech transfer leaders on the issues and trends that matter most. Keep listening for an inside track on the people, IP policies, and politics changing our world.
Welcome to Autumn on the Air. As we continue our special July series for Disability Pride Month, we're honored to feature Paul White, CEO and co-founder of Hidden Disabilities Sunflower. Since 2016, Paul has been a passionate advocate for disability rights, driving global change by raising awareness of non-visible disabilities and championing equal opportunities for all. Under his leadership, Hidden Disabilities Sunflower has grown into a worldwide movement with over 40,000 sunflower-friendly locations in 53 countries, helping millions of people with invisible disabilities feel seen, supported, and included in every aspect of life, from travel to education, workplaces, and beyond. Today, we'll explore how the Sunflower Initiative is transforming attitudes, breaking down barriers, and how universities and tech transfer offices can play a pivotal role in creating more inclusive environments for people with hidden disabilities. Welcome to the podcast, Paul. So excited to have you here with me today on the air.
Thank you, Lisa. I am equally excited to be talking to you today and being able to talk to your audience about the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower.
Yeah, let's talk about it because it's really a great initiative, and we're in Disability Pride Month now. And talk to us a little bit about Paul. You were part of the original team that launched Hidden Disabilities Sunflower. What inspired you to create this initiative, and what was your initial goal?
So, yes, the Sunflower was created in 2016, which seems like a lifetime ago now, but isn't that long ago, really, in respect of how far we've come in that period of time. And it was created at Gatwick Airport. And Gatwick Airport recognised that whilst they could see people coming through the airport with visible disabilities, well, what about all the people with non-visible disabilities? So they came to me and my team, and the reason they came to me and my team is because I owned a printing company, and I had the merchandise contract for Gatwick. And they came to me and my team and said, we've got this idea. We want to be able to support people with non-visible disabilities, but we don't know what to do and we don't know where to start. Have you got any ideas? So I took it away and we played around with our team. And that's when we came back with the sunflower as a symbol to allow people to be able to demonstrate they have a non-visible condition, but in a discreet and subtle way. So, and then to train the staff as to the meaning of the sunflower. So when that person, or the passenger in this case, walked through the airport, the staff knew what it meant, the passenger knew what it meant, but no one else really did. And it didn't really sort of call people out for their condition. And it was instantly successful, both with the passengers and also with the staff at the airport, with the ability to be able to support them. And naturally, you only go to the airport for one reason, right? So as other airports began to see people wearing the sunflower, they also wanted to get involved. And from there, it just grew and grew and grew and grew. And that's kind of how it really began.
So why a sunflower? I mean, there's thousands of flowers or many different things you could have chosen. Why the focus on the sunflower?
Well, for me, disability, the international symbol for disability was a person in a wheelchair. But only 7% of disabled people are wheelchair users. And when a person walks out of a disabled toilet, for instance, people see a wheelchair and the expectation is that person has a mobility issue, and sometimes questions are asked. And obviously people with non-visible disabilities are just as much right to use the disabled toilets as anybody else. So we wanted to create something that was completely different and away from that, and have that had no real sort of connection with the current symbol, because for me that just didn't work. And the sunflower really kind of demonstrated positivity and happiness and strength and growth and confidence. And that's really what we wanted to do. We wanted to create a symbol around positivity, because, again, disability for me to a certain extent was about what you couldn't do, about the barriers in society that were being placed. And the sunflower is about what you can do. It's absolutely about what you can do as a person and what you can do as an individual and how businesses can support you in that to allow you to do that. And the sunflower for me just seemed to capture that. It seemed to capture that with positivity and strength. And of course, it's a globally recognized symbol and it's gender neutral. So it kind of ticks all the boxes for us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great symbol. And as I mentioned to you, I saw it in the Raleigh-Durham airport and knew right away what it was after you and I had talked a little bit before doing this podcast. So it is something, once you know what it is, it becomes immediately recognizable.
That's kind of what we wanted to do. We wanted to create something that was instantly recognizable, that it couldn't be confused for something else, that the minute you saw it, as you did, Lisa, at the airport, you instantly say that's what it is. And because it's about recognition, we had to be able to have that connection with a symbol. And I think, as a view, Lucy, I really think we have captured that.
So, Paul, for our listeners who may be unfamiliar, remind us what qualifies as a hidden or invisible disability, and talk to us a little bit about some of the kinds of challenges these people with these conditions face in their everyday life.
Well, a hidden disability is any disability that isn't visible. And non-visible disabilities can range from anything from a neurological condition to a visual or hearing loss. It could be a chronic illness such as asthma or diabetes, or it could be something such as anxiety. So it's anything that causes you to be disabled, if you like, within a certain environment. And within environments can be disabling. So people can find certain environments temporarily disabling, such as we was talking about airports. Some people find airports really triggering in regards to the whole environment there. So the sunflower is here to capture all disabilities from anything, as I say, from a neurological condition, or it could be something like MS, or it could be something like anxiety. And really, the barriers that people really face within society with non-visible disabilities really is the clues in the name. It's the fact that they're non-visible. People can't see them. So it's very difficult for others to acknowledge the barriers that person faces. And as a consequence, any sympathy or any understanding can often be in short supply. So there really is a need in society for a way for people to be able to self-advocate for yourself. Self-advocating yourself isn't a weakness, it's an absolute right. And the sunflower gives people the opportunity to be able to do that. And we kind of hope that the sunflower is beginning to break down those barriers that people face in society whose disabilities aren't visible.
Now, I think your impact has been pretty tremendous. I mean, the sunflower has been adopted in over 53 countries, and it's recognized in more than 40,000 locations worldwide. It's really incredible once you think about it, 53 countries. So what have been some of the most powerful stories or movements that really show the impact of this movement?
Well, I really think that we've done so much globally as an organisation, because the sunflower was really started in the UK. And when I started the sunflower program, I didn't really have any of these global aspirations of what it would be like or how it would work. It really was just a simple idea that we began to work with and we began to run to. And the truth of the matter is when I first started the sunflower program, it was a commercial decision. It was the fact that we were selling tons and tons of sunflower lanyards, and I was going to go and live on an island in the South Pacific and live a very, very happy life. But what happened was I started to begin to get messages, Lisa, about how the sunflower had changed people's lives, about how something that I'd helped to create had given people the ability to go out and do things that they necessarily couldn't do before. It gave people confidence to go out and live a more fuller life. And I always remember this one message I got from a gentleman who has dementia. And he used to play walking football with his mates down at the local sports club. And his wife used to drive him to the sports club every day. He used to play football, then he used to drive him home. But the bus company recognised the sunflower. Because the bus company recognised the sunflower, he was able to get the bus. And he emailed me and said to me I'd given him his life back. because for the first time since his diagnosis, he was able to do something independently without his wife, because if something had happened on that bus, he was safe in the knowledge that the bus driver got it and the bus driver would be able to support him. And I kind of thought, you know what, this is worth more than me just selling a load of merchandise. This has got the ability to really do something for society. So I really did a complete 180 on the Sunflower program. We implemented a training program. We implemented so many other aspects to the Sunflower program. I surrounded myself with people who really got disability and understood disability and had experience. And we went at it really in a way that we just advocated for people's rights within the communities. And it was like that light bulb moment for me, that one moment. And it was all through a simple email demonstrated the kind of the impact the Sunflowers had. And there's so many stories such as that we hear from the community, and then also from businesses, how the businesses are able to support both their customers and colleagues. And it really has just helped us to really sort of how we frame the Sunflower and how we deliver the Sunflower to the disabled communities.
Yeah, and it's really incredible. Talk to us about how this program's evolved. I mean, initially it started out with travel. You mentioned the bus driver, but it's been embraced by all types of businesses, universities, healthcare, and just plain public places.
Anywhere where people work, travel, play, eat, the Sunflower now has a presence. As you mentioned, there's over 40,000 businesses across the globe that are locations that support the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower. And that's anything from the largest supermarket chains down to your local coffee shop and your local dry cleaners, because it's equally as important to create an inclusive environment, whether you're going to get your groceries or you're going to pick up your dry cleaning. But what we did is we wanted to create a program that it was barrier free for organisations, that gave organisations the ability to really just to start that journey to becoming confident in how they support their disabled customers and colleagues. There seemed to be so much confusion about how to start that journey, and organisations really got hung up in making sure everything was perfect. So as such, they just never actually started the journey. So the Sunflower, in a lot of that ways, has been able to bridge that gap. It's been able to really help encourage businesses that it doesn't have to be overly complicated. Yes, you have to commit, and yes, you have to be determined, and you have to be you have to be honest in the way that you go about it. But as long as you're human, as long as you come at it from a human perspective and in a way that we're all people and everybody has got an absolute voice and a right to be able to live in this society, then you're going to be able to overcome these barriers. So the Sunflower is kind of really how we've implemented it. It began in the airport, as we spoke about, person walking through the airport saying, "See, you have a lanyard on, sir. What can I do for you? What do you need?" And now it's used by businesses from, as I say, from your smallest local shops down to up to the largest supermarket chains and the largest airports and and some of the most recognised brands across the globe, to help them create an environment that supports both their customers and their colleagues with hidden disabilities.
Now, Paul, I want to go back to something you mentioned, because you said you've developed training, and I know you have a lot of other resources that you provide to organizations. Talk to us about what you do offer in terms of helping to train staff and communities so they're prepared to help support Sunflower wearers.
So when an organisation joins the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower program, we have a membership. So it's a membership platform that a business would join. And the first thing that you receive is the Sunflower training. So we have training modules on there that cover what are hidden disabilities, what is the Sunflower, and then how to support a person wearing the Sunflower. And then we have further modules where people or Sunflower wearers talk about the Sunflower, but from their own experience about how the Sunflower impacts them and how society around them impacts them. And we ask businesses to pledge that 80% of their staff will receive the Sunflower training through their journey. So that guarantees, as a Sunflower wearer, you can be confident that when an organisation is Sunflower friendly, 4 out of 5 people within that organisation will understand what it means. So that cuts out, I don't know what it means, I don't know what it is. That gives that organisation the ability. And we've got some really imaginative ways that we can deliver the training, especially when with some of these businesses will have hundreds of thousands of employees. We're able to deliver these Sunflower, but it really just covers a very, very simple message in our training, and you can cover it off so quickly. The Hidden Disabilities Sunflower means that a wearer has a non-visible disability. You don't need to know or ask what that person's condition is. Just recognise there's something going on that isn't immediately obvious, and give that person some extra time, care, patience, understanding, kindness. That's it. That's the whole ethos of the Hidden Disability Sunflower program. Now, we naturally build off of that. We build on top of that, and then we help businesses and organisations to create an environment for both their customers and their colleagues to allow that organisation to be accessible by the disabled communities and to be inclusive. But we don't stray too far from really around that core message about what the Sunflower really means. And that gives businesses the space. That because it's such a very, very simple message, businesses don't have to go through a half a day long training session where half of their staff will probably forget it straight away anyway. It really is about delivering these really sort of punchy bullet points of what the Sunflower means, and then enabling that business to be creative and sort of to build off of that in how they support their customers and colleagues.
Yeah, so it's not a one-size-fits-all. It allows them the flexibility to adapt the Sunflower program within their own organization.
Absolutely, because we are working with so many diverse businesses from different industries, because the needs of a person when they're visiting a supermarket is going to be completely different from the needs of a person visiting an airport, for instance. So because of that, and we don't obviously understand each industry and each business, we do understand how to deliver the Sunflower, so we deliver it in a generic way, and then we ask that business to be creative. We've got some do's and don'ts around the Sunflower. We won't ask for proof of a person's disability to obtain a Sunflower lanyard. And then the reason for that is because of so many people haven't got a diagnosis. So awaiting a diagnosis, or a diagnosis just simply isn't available. So anxiety, for instance, is an example of that. And we think people within this bracket should be just as able to obtain a Sunflower product as anybody else. So we won't allow businesses to ask for proof. We won't allow businesses to sell the Sunflower merchandise. We ask them to give it away. So for a Sunflower wearer, you can pick up your Sunflower merchandise for free from Sunflower-friendly locations. So you're not being penalised financially for wanting to demonstrate you have a non-visible disability. So we have some absolute hard no's or yeses, whatever way you want to say it, of how the Sunflower can be used. And then we ask organisations to then just to be creative off the back of it, of how they support their disabled communities.
That's really incredible, Paul. And I want to turn and talk a little bit about supporting the disabled community and universities and technology transfer, because universities and technology transfer offices are really uniquely positioned to shape inclusive cultures. So what advice would you have for these institutions to better support students, staff, and innovators with hidden disabilities?
Across the globe, 1 in 7 people has some form of disability, and then 80% of these disabilities are not visible. This could be me, this could be you, this could be someone in your street, this could be a work colleague, this could be a family member. And as I've said before, it's very difficult for others to acknowledge the person's condition if that disability is completely invisible. However, it doesn't have to be incumbent on the Sunflower or the disabled person to constantly have to self-advocate for their place in society. It should be incumbent on the organisation to create an environment that allows that person the space to be able to access that area. It should be incumbent on that organisation to create an environment where somebody can feel comfortable to disclose they have a non-visible disability. And then that enables that organisation the opportunity to offer that person the accommodations, whatever they might be, to allow that person to continue through their day. So organisations have to create these environments. They have to create this environment and this space that allows people to be able to do that. So how do you go about doing that? You have to disability has to become part of the DNA of that organisation. It cannot be a topic that isn't discussed. It can't be a dirty word or whatever it would be, because it's not, because it's part of society, it's part of humanity. So organisations have got to create that space. And by doing so, people will be able to bring their authentic self to your organisation. So talking about you with it, your question in regards to a educational environment, so many young people in education will go into and fit in. And that's not how life is going to be. And then they mask all the way through their school days. They come out of school and then they're able to flop. And I can really relate to that, because my daughter Maddie's autistic, and you could actually see when Maddie was in school, she spent half of her time in the quiet room or in the library because everything was really, really noisy. And then she would come home and she would just mask her condition constantly. She would come home and then she would be her real self. But she wasn't bringing her authentic self to school or university, because she struggled to be able to do that. So as such, she was never going to be able to contribute in the way that she could or she should. So if you want people to come to your organisation and fully contribute, you have to create an environment that allows that person to do so. And again, obviously, I'm always going to advocate for the sunflower. Using a symbol like the sunflower, a very simple symbol, whether that's as you walk in or just something to spark that conversation. You'd be amazed at how that helps organisations to be able to start to create an environment that is inclusive and it is accessible for disabled people. So that really would be my advice, was really just work towards representation, work towards creating an environment where people can bring their authentic self into school or college or university and work. And you will see the benefit of that, because we all benefit from it.
Now, I know you work with several universities. Can you give us some examples of how the sunflower has been used by these universities to help promote inclusion and open communication about disability needs?
Yeah, there's a lot of universities across the globe that are using the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower. It's anywhere from the actual university down to the student unions that use the sunflower, and it really is just to help spark that conversation. And you know what? It normalises disability. It really helps to normalise disability in society. And I kind of feel that one of the places that we now sit in really is education. Is how do we educate people from the grassroots, from the ground up, as to hidden disabilities and disability in general, and the benefits of being understanding and kind and create an accessible environment for people. So we've worked a lot. We created a few years ago. We had a campaign that was called Back to Campus, where we encouraged all UK-based schools, colleges, and universities to join the sunflower, and we had a huge buy-in. It was absolutely enormous from all of the different levels of schooling, in the way that we provided the sunflower, and we gave them tools to be able to talk about the sunflower. And this is kind of a little bit off topic, but it's something that we're kind of really proud with. Is the Scouts have just introduced their first sunflower badge into the Scouts, which is really cool. And it kind of meets the same topic and to get the sunflower badge, you have to watch a training video that we've created for the Scouts. You have to answer some questions about disability, and then you have to go out into the community and you have to tell two people what the Hidden Disability Sunflower means and start spreading the word of the sunflower. And if you do that, you get your sunflower badge for the Cubs and the Scouts. So again, is kind of an example of how the sunflower is kind of is seen in society, to be able to really just to start educating young people from this grassroots level. And as they grow and as they learn, we really hope that they'll take the sunflower through their journey and be much more and create much more understanding society.
Well, that's really great about the Scouts. I love getting kids involved at an early age. I mean, that's only going to pay it forward even more when they get older.
Yeah, it is a very, very super cool collaboration actually that we've got with the Scouts, and so it's currently in the UK. But the plan is after is now to grow it out globally across all of the Scouts all across the globe. So wherever you are, if you're in the Scouts, it is coming soon.
That's fantastic. Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Well, with the sunflower being a global symbol, what are your hopes for the future of this initiative and for the broader movement towards disability inclusion?
Because we are a global organisation, I've really been able to see how disability is viewed across the globe in the way that, and also in the short time that I've been part of the Sunflower Programme, or as the short time the Sunflower Programme has really been since its beginning. I've really started to see how the UK has moved and how the UK how it's influenced, I should say, the UK in how it supports its disabled communities. And when we go into different countries, it's absolutely fascinating to see how the sunflower really is used, and how the sunflower can start to help to create an environment where disabled people can be supported. And across the globe, as I say, disability is viewed in different ways. I've recently been over with our partners or our colleagues across in the Middle East. And the way that I've seen disability being viewed across the Middle East is, whilst disabled people are very supported by their families, there's very little appetite for independence over there for disabled people. And the government in the UAE want to change that. They want to, because it's an absolute right, independence, absolutely, and they want people to be independent and go out and have a full and rich life. And the sunflower is being used as the symbol to be able to help to create that environment over there. So my hope is across the sunflower really is really just to help these countries, when these countries begin their journey in regards to supporting people with hidden disabilities. We have global partners within the sunflower, like businesses that support the sunflower all across the globe. Examples of that is like the Hilton Group, a global partner, HSBC, Lego, are global partners, and we use these relationships, or we really help leverage these relationships with the organisations when we go into a new country to really help us start that journey and kickstart the sunflower within that community. So my hope really would be as I travel across the globe, that everywhere I go, I would see the sunflower. We're getting there. As far as airports, I think there's 330 airports now that recognise the sunflower. There's 23 airlines, and as we said, there's 40,000 businesses across the globe. Now the world is a huge place, but every time I see somebody wearing the sunflower, no matter where they are in the globe, I still get a kick out of it. I still get a kick of the fact that that person is self-advocating for themselves through the sunflower and giving others the opportunity to give that person that extra time, care, patience, and understanding that we're thriving for.
No, it's absolutely incredible what you've been able to build in a relatively short amount of time, like you said, being global, in fact. So, Paul, what message would you like to share with our listeners, especially those in higher education and innovation, about the importance of recognizing and supporting people with hidden disabilities?
Well, as I mentioned, 1 in 7 across the global population have some form of disability. And businesses really are employing more disabled people than they think they are. It's just that person hasn't disclosed they have a non-visible disability. So create an environment that enables a person to be confident to disclose they have a non-visible disability within your organisation. And then that will allow you to make those reasonable adjustments that will not only make that person's day better, you will get that best out of that person, whether that person is a student, whether that person is an employee, or whether it's a person just visiting your location. And we hear all these stories about how businesses are absolutely thirsty for diversity. Well, businesses are diverse. It's just that people haven't disclosed. Create this environment. Create an environment where people can disclose. Make those reasonable adjustments that could and should be made. And your business, organisation, school, college will improve immeasurably off the back of that. Now, there are enormous ways that you can do that as an organisation, from simply having newsletters or having representation within your organisation. Employ more disabled people, which naturally covers other disabled people to use your facilities. Use your social media, use your reach to talk about what you are doing to support your disabled customers and your colleagues, and that will take us one step further towards inclusion.
Well, Paul, it's been a real pleasure talking to you today, and thank you so much for what you and Hidden Disabilities Sunflower are doing for people with hidden disabilities. If anyone listening to this podcast is interested in learning more about Sunflower, where can they reach you and learn more about the organization?
So if you can visit our site, which is hdsunflower.com, we are all over social media, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, X, LinkedIn. You'll always be able to find us on there. And we would be delighted to hear from anybody who wants to talk to us.
Well, thank you so much again, Paul.
Thank you very much for inviting me. And just remember, everybody, if you see somebody wearing the sunflower, just give that person some extra time, care, patience, understanding, most importantly, kindness.
Paul, thank you for joining us and sharing your vision for a world where everyone, regardless of whether their disability is visible or hidden, feels welcomed, understood, and empowered. The Hidden Disabilities Sunflower is more than a symbol. It's a catalyst for change, reminding us that small acts of awareness and kindness can make a profound difference. As we celebrate Disability Pride Month, let's all commit to building communities, campuses, and workplaces where every individual can thrive. Thank you to our listeners for tuning in to Autumn on the Air. Stay with us for more stories of innovation, inclusion, and impact throughout July.
Thanks for listening to Autumn on the Air with Lisa Mueller. Get social with us and share your thoughts. You can tweet us at AUTM or visit us online at autm.net. We'll be back next week on the air. Be sure to join us.